Hi everybody, we are again with a very special guest and we are from the Miami Film Festival, covering the festival. We have already said that, and we're with one of the directors that is featuring one of his movies in the festival. And today we are very proud of having Andreas Apostolidis here. He is presenting his film Latin Noir, which is a documentary about 5 authors of crime fiction novels in Latin America. Very important authors that a lot of people know. We're going to talk about this documentary. Belen has the first question. Thank you for the festival, and thank you for all the people who has arranged this interview. Thank you very much. First, Belen.
Andreas, firstly, congratulations on your film. I liked it very much.
Thank you.
An essential idea developed in your film is that Latin noir fiction is heavily inspired by contemporary history, and your documentary itself works as an overview of crime in 5 big cities since the 70s. What could you tell us about the historical research process for your film?
You see, my main concept is that these writers were inspired from what they have lived mainly during the 70s, 80s and 90s. But some of them even more recently. So my objective was to combine what was going on in the 70s and what was going on after the 2000, the 21st century. So there are some themes that are a little bit old to us. I mean, the dictatorships and so on. And then some other themes that has to do with the economic crisis after the 21st century. So about history, my main purpose was to combine more older history with a newer one. And so I have chosen, for instance, Taibo, who was inspired mainly from the 70s, and Piñeiro in Argentina, and she was inspired mainly by the economic crisis in Argentina. So there was the initial stage of combining things in the documentary.
I know you have met some of these authors through Noir Fiction Fairs, but what was the final decision, or how was the final decision to choose these 5 specific writers?
Yeah, it wasn't easy because I have taken interviews from 20 or 25 authors,
okay,
and writers, but it was quite difficult to put them all of them in one documentary. It was too long, so I have to choose some examples from each country. So I chose, for instance, Taibo from Mexico, with the main theme of corruption. Then I have chosen from Peru, Roncagliolo, with the same theme of a very peculiar civil war in Peru. Then I have chosen Padura from Cuba, with the theme of how the socialist revolution then evolved, and the failure of the economic and structural system in Cuba. Then about Chile, the example of Sepúlveda, the exile, and how you come back to your country. And then from Piñeiro, the subject of the economic crisis. So I have chosen one example from each country to combine and make a whole structure. I have to eliminate many other very interesting writers in order, in a way, to make simple a very complex theme.
Sure. but coming also from a country that in some way experienced political moments such as dictatorships and student protests in the 70s and some well-known corruption cases in recent times, how do you think this wave of Latin noir influenced not just your writing, but Greek crime fiction novels in general?
I would say a little bit peculiar for a director from Greece to do a film about Latin America.
Yeah.
But there are some common things. One of them is, in a sense, the way that we are countries in the south of very big countries, even if there is Latin America and we are in Greece in the south of Europe. The other common thing, of course, it is that in the 70s, all of these countries will have dictatorships. And then in the 21st century, all of us, we have very big economic problems. So if we are very far away, we have very common things. That's why I did a film from Greece to America Latina. And the other thing is that the crime writers, we had a common place where we were meeting, and it's this special film festival, Semana Negra, which is every year in Gijón in Spain.
Yes.
This is a book festival initiated by Paco Taibo, which is one of the writers I present in the documentary, which is, he was born in Gijón, then he lived in Mexico, and then he organized a film festival in the north of Spain, where all of Latin American writers meet every year, and also European writers. So Gijón in Spain is a meeting place for all of us. So there I have met all these guys. I have taken interviews from them, and I have connected them in the documentary.
Yeah.
Andreas, in Latin noir, there are some violent, hard-to-see images that involve guerrillas and dead bodies. There are also beautiful skylines of the cities in question. I think there is an intention of finding balance in contrasting these cities. What is your take on it?
Yeah, always. I mean, mainly the crime fiction in recent years is focused on the big cities. And the big cities have two images. One image, it is the immensity of the city. It is the beautiful sight of the city, and then it is the underbelly, what is going on behind this image. So in the books and also in the documentary, you have to put in contrast these two different aspects of the cities. That is what I have tried to do in choosing what you see in the film, which is also what the writers are trying to do when they write the books about the big cities.
The Jazz Noir soundtrack and the novel's quotes we listened set the mood for a documentary about noir fiction. How early on did you think about sound in your film?
My main intention was to try to include the books to the documentary, which is not easy, and it's not quite usually in a documentary. I mean, the way you present a book and the writer into a documentary. So my main intention is to find passages from the books, excerpts from the books, and to put them into the documentary and to show how they are going to work to the audience in a way that you choose a passage from a book to present it. It wasn't easy. but I think these passages give to the audience a certain sense of how the writer works when he sees the city.
As a filmmaker, you have mostly done documentaries, Citizen Europe, for example, previously. But would you be interested in adapting one of these authors' novels into a fiction film? I mean, yourself?
Yeah, I would like to do it, but it's something quite difficult and too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's more easy to do. I mean, in 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 documentaries. If you try to make a book into a fiction film, you have to wait 10 or 12 years to do it. So it's something you have to choose what do you want to do in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to do one adaptation of these books, I was going to wait 10 years. In the meantime, I could, because I'm also a writer, I could write 4 or 5 books, 2 or 3, 5 documentaries, make 20 translations from this book. So it's, you have to choose what you do, enjoy more. Of course, I would like to do it, but it's quite expensive.
Yes. But continuing with this idea of adapting noir novels, like Netflix adapting Padura's work, which one of yours would you rather to be adapted into a movie or series? Or you're totally against that? Or?
Yeah, I would like to do some of the books of Paco Taibo with his hero, a Mexican.
No, but for you, but your novels.
Yeah, from what I write crime novels of organized crime in Athens. Yeah, I would like very much to do one of this in a TV series. This would be my first choice, organized crime in Athens. If I was going to adapt something, I would like very much to do one of the Taibos in Mexico City.
Yes.
But anyway, these books are not very well known. I think one major fact, it is this Netflix adaptation of Padura's 4 Seasons in Havana.
Yes, in Havana.
Which is the first major project for television. And I think this a little bit is going to change how the wider public approaches Latin noir. I mean, this also happened with Nordic noir. I mean, these Scandinavian countries, they were unknown.
Yes.
But when television started producing TV series like, for example, Last Killing, then it was well known and distributed all through the English language world and perhaps the Spanish audience.
Yes.
This first Netflix series about 4 Seasons in Havana, it is a start. I think, and I hope it will be followed with other such series. For the time being, the main theme is about the narco trafficking. You know, the Netflix series about Narcos, Mexico, and so on. But they are only focusing on this subject and not the other themes that they are mainly the theme of Latin noir, the themes of state corruption, the themes of dictatorships, the themes of economic crisis. From the time being, they are only included in books and not television. When television and the newer, let's say, the cable television is going to include them, the whole scene is going to be changed. And they're going to become much more popular.
Yeah, totally.
Someone in the film says the world has become a big black novel. If we all lived inside this novel, which mystery would you like to solve?
No, there is always the mystery of how you approach and understand the reality. This is not going to be changed. I mean, you hear the news, but you don't always know what's going on behind. And a crime fiction or detective stories always tries to get behind the obvious, behind what you think it's happening. There is always a dark scene behind, so it's not going to be changed, this way of approach.
Andreas, thank you very much for being here for this interview. Thank you very much for your openness, and I really appreciate the educational parts of your documentary that is very important for us as Latin Americans. And so I hope people that you could see this in the future, just totally check this out because of how informative it is. So thank you very much, Andreas. And you know that we love talking about films.
Okay.
And Andreas, say goodbye to our viewers.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.